After my fiancée stole my identity and drained my accounts, I lost everything. She moved out laughing. Good luck proving it was me. I spent 2 months building a case. Yesterday, her mother called me crying. Please drop the charges. She'll get 10 years. I simply replied, she should have thought about that before taking everything I had. I, 32M, still can't believe this is my life now. 6 months ago, I had a fiancé, savings, and plans. Now I've got debt collectors calling daily, and a court case that's consuming my every waking hour. My fiancé and I were together for 3 years, engaged for the last 8 months. We were supposed to get married next spring. Looking back, I missed so many red flags. She'd get defensive when I looked in her direction while she was on her phone. She borrowed my laptop constantly. She'd ask weird questions about my accounts, security questions, password reset emails, stuff I didn't think twice about at the time. The night it all blew up, I was at dinner with friends. My card declined. Embarrassing, but whatever. Probably just forgot to transfer money. Tried my other card. Declined too. Checked my banking app under the table and felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Accounts drained. Both of them. $37,461 gone. Called my fiancé. No answer. Called again. Voicemail. Had this sick feeling in my stomach as I drove home. Half her stuff was gone. Found a note. It wasn't working out. Sorry. That's it. Nothing about the fucking money. Spent that night in complete panic mode. Called banks. Checked accounts. Ran credit reports. Shit kept getting worse by the minute. Not just my accounts emptied. She'd opened 5 credit cards in my name, maxed out at like $47,350. 2 personal loans totaling $35,000. And a car loan for $42,000. When I finally reached her the next day, she wasn't even trying to hide it. Yeah, I took some money. You always said what's yours is mine. Then she fucking laughed and said, good luck proving the rest was me. I asked where my money went. She just said places. Don't bother looking for it. And then twisted the knife. I needed a fresh start. You were too boring anyway. She came with her brother the next morning to get the rest of her stuff. I confronted her again, and she just smirked. Good luck proving it was me. I know exactly how to cover my tracks. I didn't yell. Didn't beg. Just watched them load the car. Something in me just switched off. Or maybe switched on. I closed the door and started making calls. Police first. Filed identity theft and fraud reports. Then lawyers. Then every bank and credit card company. The police weren't exactly giving me confidence. These cases are complicated, they kept saying. Especially between couples. Hard to prove criminal intent. So I decided to prove it. All of it. Took a week of PTO and started working full-time on building a case. Spent another 5 weeks spending every evening and weekend on it while working my normal job during the day. My boss was surprisingly cool about my situation and let me take longer lunches for phone calls with banks and lawyers. I documented everything. Got security footage from our apartment building showing her leaving with boxes on the days of the transfers. Retrieved deleted browser history from my laptop. She wasn't nearly as tech-savvy as she thought. Found email confirmations for cards and loans in my trash folder. Got screenshots of texts between her and her friend where she literally called to her escape plan. Discovered my password saved in a folder on her cloud account that synced to our shared tablet. She'd been planning this for months. Making small withdrawals, testing passwords, intercepting my financial emails. The more I dug, the more evidence I found, and the more pissed off I got. Meanwhile, my financial situation was a nightmare. Had to crash on my friend's couch because I couldn't make rent. Credit score tanked from 780 to 490. Lived on ramen and whatever my buddy cooked. Applied for victim status with credit agencies to dispute all the fake accounts, but that shit takes forever. Banks froze my remaining accounts during the fraud investigation, so I couldn't even access the little money I had left. After almost 3 months of this, the detective finally called. They were pressing charges, multiple felony counts. Identity theft, fraud, grand larceny. The DA was confident with the evidence we'd compiled. That night, my fiancé's mother called me crying. Please drop the charges. She made a mistake. She'll get 10 years in prison. She's my only daughter. I just said she should have thought about that before taking everything I had. Her mother went ballistic. She was just taking what she deserved. You always controlled the money. Total bullshit. She made her own money, and I never monitored her spending. I hung up and blocked her. Then my fiancée called from some random number, suddenly all sweet and scared. Babe, we can work this out. I'll pay you back. I was going through something. Please don't do this. I recorded that call too. More evidence. The arraignment is set for next month. My lawyer says it's unusually clear-cut for domestic identity theft. Whatever that means. I'm still on my friend's couch. Still rebuilding. Still have days where I can't believe this is my life. But I'm going to see this through. Not just for the money, but because fuck her for thinking she could get away with this. We'll update after the arraignment. Update 1. It's been almost 6 weeks since my last post. Haven't updated sooner because 1, this shit is exhausting, and 2, my lawyer advised me to be careful about what I share online until after the case is resolved. But I need to vent, and you guys were supportive last time. After posting here, I got a bunch of DMs asking if my ex had done this before. Hadn't even occurred to me to check. Tracked down her ex before me. We'd met at a couple social things. Dude was weird about talking at first, but eventually told me she'd cleaned out their joint account when they broke up, around $8,000. He never went after her legally because it seemed like more trouble than it was worth with lawyers and everything. Passed this info to the detective. They added it to the case file. Meanwhile, my ex's family has gone full psycho with the harassment. Her mom created like 6 different social media accounts to message my friends about what a vengeful monster I am. Her dad showed up at my job, and security had to remove him. My buddy's girlfriend got a message from my ex's cousin calling me a pathetic loser who's just mad he got dumped. Last week, I got served with papers. My ex is suing me for defamation. Claims I'm ruining her reputation with false accusations. My lawyer literally snorted when I called him about it. Said it's a desperate attempt to scare me into dropping the criminal charges and will probably get thrown out in the first hearing. The financial hell continues. Had a job interview rescinded when they ran a credit check. Finally got access to my checking account again, but it's got like $230 in it. My friend's still letting me crash, but his girlfriend is clearly getting tired of the arrangement. Can't blame her. Some minor wins. Got approved for a secured credit card with a $300 limit. One of the credit card companies removed the fraudulent account from my report. Found a weekend gig doing inventory at a warehouse that pays cash daily. The criminal case keeps getting bigger. The prosecutor discovered my ex used my identity for a business loan of $75,000 that I didn't even know about. They've frozen some accounts where she transferred money, but a lot of it is just gone, spent or hidden. The weirdest part, ran into her at the grocery store last week. I was buying ramen and peanut butter, the diet of champions when you're broke. She looked like hell, unwashed hair, baggy clothes. When she saw me, she started crying right there by the cereal aisle. I didn't think it would go this far, she said, like she's the victim here. I just wanted to start over. You can stop this if you want to. I just shook my head and tried to walk away. I'll tell them you knew, she called after me, that you gave me permission for everything. That's when I turned back and said, that's why I recorded our last call where you admitted taking everything. And every call since. Should have taken a picture of her face. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. Court date's been pushed back twice now. Currently scheduled for next month. The prosecutor says this is normal, but it's killing me. Just want this over with, so I can start piecing my life back together. Still sleeping on a couch. Still eating like a college freshman. Still having nightmares about checking my bank balance. We'll update when there's real news. Update 2. Court didn't go how I expected at all. I'd prepared myself for this big dramatic showdown, testimony, evidence presentation, the whole deal. My lawyer had me practice answering questions for hours. I barely slept the night before. Then we get there, and immediately my ex's attorney asks for a meeting with the prosecutor. They disappear for like 40 minutes while I sit there feeling like I'm going to throw up. Turns out, she wanted to plead guilty to reduce charges. Why the sudden change? Because the investigation found more victims. Not just her ex who lost $8,000, but apparently her old roommate and her freaking cousin too. The money she took from me was partly used to pay back another victim who'd been threatening to go to the police. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was her MO. They brought me into a meeting room to discuss the plea deal. My ex wouldn't even look at me. Just stared at the table while her mom glared daggers at me the whole time. The deal: she'd plead guilty to felony identity theft and fraud, serve between 2 to 5 years depending on the judge. Prosecutor said realistically with overcrowding and good behavior, probably 14 to 18 months actually served, 5 years probation, and make restitution payments to all victims. The prosecutor asked if I was okay with it. I asked for a few minutes with my lawyer. What if we don't take it? I asked. Then we go to trial. With the evidence we have, she'd likely face 8 to 10 years. But trials are unpredictable, expensive, and this could drag on for literally years. I was so tired. The thought of dragging this out for years more, the stress, the court appearances, the constant reopening of the wound, I just couldn't. One condition, I said finally. I want her to tell me to my face what she did. Not some lawyer-speak bullshit. I want her to admit it. They set it up. In a small conference room, with our lawyers present. We sat across from each other, and for the first time, she looked scared? Remorseful? Hard to tell. A full minute went by, with her saying nothing. I'm waiting, I finally said. She took this shaky breath and said, I stole your identity. I took your money. I planned it for months. Her voice cracked. I've been doing this for years. To everyone close to me. I don't know why. I just nodded and walked out. What else was there to say? The plea was entered that afternoon. Judge scheduled sentencing for next month, but revoked her bail, so they took her into custody right there. As they led her away, her mom followed me into the hallway. Are you happy now? She hissed. You've ruined her life. I just said, no, she ruined her own life. And mine. And several others. I'm just trying to rebuild. Not gonna pretend I felt amazing walking out of there. Mostly I felt empty. And fucking exhausted. It's been about 2 weeks since then. Got approved for a tiny studio apartment, had to pay triple deposit because of my credit, but my new boss co-signed after hearing my situation. It's barely bigger than a closet, but at least I have my own space again. My financial situation is still a disaster. The DA says restitution will take years and will probably only recover a fraction of what was taken. Credit score is still in the toilet. Still living paycheck to paycheck. But at least the collections calls have mostly stopped since the case was resolved. Some days I'm angry. Some days I'm just sad. Most days I'm too tired to feel much of anything. Sentencing is next month. I'll update after. Final update. It's been almost a year since my last update. Wasn't planning to post again, but something happened that felt like the end of this chapter, so here we are. Quick recap. After the plea deal, my ex got sentenced to 3 years. With credit for time served and overcrowding, her lawyer said she'd likely serve about 18 months. She's been in for about 11 months now. Financially, I'm surviving. The court ordered restitution, but that's been a joke. I've received exactly 3 payments totaling $1,850. Her parents apparently covered those, then stopped. My lawyer says we can pursue enforcement, but that means more legal fees I can't afford right now. My credit score has crawled up to 620, still bad, but at least I can function. Got denied for an apartment 4 times before finding my current place, which costs way too much for what it is, but landlords can smell desperation. Changed jobs twice. First one let me go during restructuring, right after I had to take 3 days off for court stuff. Current job pays better, but has garbage hours. Still living basically paycheck to paycheck, but at least I have an actual bed now instead of an air mattress. Dating? LOL. Trust issues much? Tried a couple dates that went nowhere. Hard to explain to someone why you flinch when they ask what bank you use. Yesterday, I got a letter with the State Corrections Department return address. Almost threw it out thinking it was some official notification about parole hearings or something. Then I realized the handwriting wasn't official, it was hers. Stared at that envelope for a good hour before opening it. Inside was a 3-page handwritten letter. Basically, she's been in therapy in prison. Says she's been diagnosed with some personality disorder, didn't specify which. The therapist has apparently been helping her recognize her pattern of predatory behavior. She wrote that she's not asking for forgiveness or for me to respond. Said she doesn't expect me to believe she's changed, but wanted me to know that what happened wasn't because of anything I did wrong. Said she's always targeted people who trusted her and that it wasn't personal. The last part read, I used to think people who got caught were just stupid. Now I realize I was the stupid one, not for getting caught, but for thinking I was entitled to whatever I wanted. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I don't expect that to mean anything to you, but I needed to say it. Don't know how to feel about it. Part of me thinks it's bullshit, another manipulation tactic as her parole hearing gets closer. Part of me wants to believe people can change. Mostly, I just felt tired reading it. I didn't respond. Put the letter in the box with all the other case documents. Maybe someday I'll feel differently about it, but right now it's just another piece of the puzzle of how the hell I missed all the signs. That's the thing about being betrayed like this. It doesn't just take your money. It takes your ability to trust your own judgment, to believe what's right in front of you. I'm working on getting that back. Slowly. Have a date next week with someone from my apartment building. First told her I was too busy, then finally agreed. Told her upfront that I have relationship baggage without dumping the whole story on her. She said she has her own baggage too. We'll see. My ex's mom still sends the occasional nasty email. Last one said I should try forgiveness, and that holding on to bitterness only hurts yourself. Block that address too. Someone asked me recently if I regret pressing charges. Honestly, sometimes. Not because she didn't deserve it, but because the process nearly broke me too. The financial toll, the emotional drain, the constant reopening of wounds. If I'd known how hard it would be, I might have just tried to walk away and rebuild quietly. But then I remember her laughing when she said, "Good luck proving it was me." I remember the feeling of standing in my empty apartment after she took everything. And I know I couldn't have lived with myself if I'd let her get away with it. My life still isn't great, but it's mine again. I check my credit report every week. I have alerts set up on all my accounts. I'm careful about who I let in. But I'm still here. Still rebuilding. And maybe eventually I'll feel normal again. If you're reading this because something similar happened to you, I won't bullshit you. The road back is long and brutal, and sometimes you'll wonder if it's worth it. Document everything. Find at least one person you can trust. Accept help when it's offered. And remember that justice isn't always satisfying, but it's still